Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Dev Chat today, April 17th, 2019.
What day is it?
It's April 17th. Jeff is not with us.
Jeff is with us. This is not like Jeff has passed.
So
Jeff is under the weather.
we're all sick right now. Everyone at Privateer in Dev is sick,
No, even other people that aren't in Dev are sick. Lots of people at Privateer are sick.
but definitely everyone in
Yeah.
Dev.
Yes. But Jeff is upstairs currently, poking at the forums and whatnot.
Yeah. So
Preparing it all to be real.
today is the Oblivion CID launch. In case
is.
you're wondering why the rules aren't up yet, they are going live probably as soon as this stream ends.
Yes.
So we're going to talk about everything, go over some of the rules, talk about the new releases, talk about the new theme forces, some cool changes to the theme forces from what we talked about last week. And then we're going to get out of here. We'll hit all the buttons, make it live, and you can join in the fun. Please excuse us if there's any random coughing or sniffling, because again, the plague has completely infested our bodies. We're dying. Send help.
I'm hoping.
They've got me chained to the table.
I'm hoping.
I just want medicine.
Mine is just allergies.
It's not.
No, I'm hoping.
I promise you it's not. It's swarming through all our bodies right now.
Well, you guys, so I was at Kingdom Con last week.
Yeah.
And it seems like you and Jeff just coughed all over the office, like licked all the surfaces, like, because when I got home, there was all this, I'm using sick time emails.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I missed all that. I did share a room with Jack.
You didn't miss it, trust me.
Who got really sick.
It's still here.
And isn't here, because
Yeah.
he's sick still. So hopefully I'm not sick. Hopefully it's just some allergies, because I came back to Seattle and pollen's everywhere.
Yep. So again,
but I'm probably sick.
apologies for any coughing or sniffling. We will try to keep it to a minimum.
Yeah.
So before we jump into things, a couple quick announcements for everybody. Mini Crate, as always, you can go to mini-crate.com. Heads up, everyone, this is the last week to order the Ancestral Guardian Angel, which is a super duper sweet model. So if you want it, you have till April 19th to get your order in before it cycles to the next model. Of course, Kaito Kasori is the newest Legend of the Five Rings mini crate model from the Phoenix Clan, available till May 5th. And the Bride of Arcadius is still the VIP sub model, so if you subscribe for 6 months, in your next shipment, you will get the Bride of Arcadius. He's still available till like mid-August, if I'm not mistaken.
That's a she.
Sorry, she. I just think, I told you, I'm going to be a little bit out of it
I
right
know,
now.
I
Because my
know.
brain is full of disease,
You
Oz.
didn't even make a blinking joke about that Ancestral Guardian. I'm sad.
Lock and Load is like tomorrow, by the way.
A little bit longer than that, but it doesn't feel like it.
June 21st through 23rd. Tickets are still available. pplockandload.com if you want to come check it out, hang out, watch the Iron Gauntlet World Finals, participate in the War Machine and Hordes narrative that ends Stormbreak, learn about Riot
Get a
Quest.
chance to touch some Riot Quest models?
Possibly. And
Rub them on your face?
come hang out with all of us. And if you want to get sick from me, Oz, and Jeff,
No, we'll be better by then.
you think so. This feels really bad. So we'll find out.
Yeah.
Tomorrow on the stream, get your paint on. I want to give everybody a heads up. At 10 a.m., Jordan's going to be on painting a Grave Ghoul. So if you want to talk to Jordan while he paints a Grave Ghoul live. And then Friday, we have Primecast live, probably, unless everyone is dead, because the plague is literally ripping this building apart. So I don't know, Tony, I don't know who's going to be on Primecast. It might just be you and John tap dancing.
I'll just put on a puppet show.
Oh my God. Get Hamilton.
It'll just be me and Hamilton.
Just you and Hamilton,
Yeah.
just Hamilton puppet show?
Figure
Perfect.
out some way to rig Hamilton so you can squeak him without touching him, like with strings or something,
Or bullets.
or bullets.
Yeah.
Anyway, you can have him sitting there on the table with you, talking of his own, power.
But he likes human contact.
He does like being squeezed.
So,
That's why I hung for some way over there where I can't reach him.
for this stream today, we're going to talk about all the new releases in Oblivion. We have concept art for some of them, but not all of them. And we won't be showing the rules on screen because those will all be available shortly as soon as the stream is
Yeah.
done. So we're going to talk through them. We're going to talk about some of their rules and let you know what we're paying attention to, kind of give you the dev chat about everything. By the way, we are live streaming, if I didn't mention that earlier. So we have Twitch chat and Facebook up right now. We will try to answer questions as best we can. Usually these streams go for about an hour and a half for the longer ones.
A CID launch stream can go kind of long. There's only 17 models in here.
Only.
And
3 new theme forces.
And I, as much as I love to just randomly talk about whatever, I don't know if we're going to do much of that today.
It might be under an hour, and that's only because we feel real bad.
And we need naps.
We need naps. All right, let's
Okay.
get to it. So first off, I want to talk about 2 things that changed before we get into the new models. Constance Blaze.
Constance Blaze.
So Oblivion is a big campaign box coming out later this year.
Yep.
It's going to have a updated Mark III rulebook that's going to have just sort of like cleanup done in a few different areas. We'll talk more about the changes that are coming in that later. It's going to have all the new Infernal models. It's going to have all the models we're talking about today. It's going to have the new theme forces that we're talking about today. It's going to have this huge fiction section talking about the arrival of the Infernals and the forces rising up to face them. Obviously, Constance being a Morrowan, being one of the big ones. And it's also going to have a narrative campaign system for 2 to 4 players that is like a 4 to 6 week branching campaign that you could play multiple times over and over again. The box, it also comes with a miniature and a deck of cards used in the narrative campaign. So,
well, the miniature's used for whatever. The cards are used in the campaign.
Thank you. We've already done an Infernal
Just so
CID.
nobody gets freaked out there.
Yeah. We've already done the Infernal CID, so people kind of know what's coming with that. Now we're going to talk about the other half of Oblivion. So we mentioned that Constance Blaze got an update. Let's go through it. Her feat got upgraded. So now her feat still gives +1 armor for every soul token on her. It no longer collects souls. I'll get to that in a second. And instead it gives divine inspiration to all Morrowans in her control range, which is signs of importance for melee attacks.
Yeah.
That is obviously going to last for 1 round and is going to be very strong. The reason it no longer collects souls is because Connie B just straight up has Reclaim now.
Yeah.
Anytime somebody dies in her control area, like the High Reclaimer, she gets the soul tokens. Also,
You might notice a theme also. That feat affects Morrowan models. There are a lot more Morrowan
there's going to be a lot more Morrowan models.
Yeah.
Also, her spell that let Morrowan models spin focus off of her to a boost is no longer a spell. It's now just a passive ability. So basically, Connie B got cleaned up and had some, I don't even want to say quality of life changes, just got stronger.
Yeah.
So she's going to be in this CID for testing. We wanted to see her be a prominent part of the Flame in the Darkness theme force.
Yep.
And as the first Morrowan ever released as a warcaster, we definitely want to see Constance Blaze on the tables fighting against the Infernals.
The other thing you will notice when you see all these models is that animosities, to a large extent, have been removed.
Yes.
Part of the theme of this is that the Infernals are coming in, and the Infernals are such a disruptive force to reality that like Morrowans and Thamarites don't hate each other anymore because they got to team up. Now there's still a little bit of animosity here and there, but all that animosity between Morrowans and Thamarites is gone.
Question came up, does proximity affect Reclaim? Yes, it does. This is not one where she gets it regardless. It's Soul Taker Reclaim, which you'll see on the High Reclaimer. Basically, when a friendly living faction model dies, she can gain the soul. But if somebody's closer, they can get it, or if anybody has an ability that stops soul collection, they can stop it.
Yep.
Her spell list didn't change. All that happened is she lost the spell that let people spin focus off her, and that just became a passive ability, so she got a little bit more focus efficient. Gallant also had a change. He just has Shield Guard now.
Yeah.
And his...
Bond.
Thank you. I told you, it's going to be one of those days.
We're going to be working together.
His bond is now the spell barrier with Blaze.
Yes.
So he doesn't have generic spell barrier, he just has generic shield guard.
If Blaze is in base-to-base contact with him, she has Sacred Ward.
Yeah, she can't be targeted by enemy spells.
Yeah.
So that's
the 2 new models.
That's the two,
two old. That's the two
two
old models.
legacy
I'm gonna get it
models.
backwards, too.
During the course of the CID, will we see new legacy things introduced? Maybe, but this is where we're starting for now.
It depends on if there's any weird interactions we haven't spotted, or if there's just some other model that people are giving us a lot of feedback on that needs to be adjusted in some way.
Yep. So let's jump right into the new stuff, and let's start with the Archons.
Yes, there are a couple of them in here, and we
6.
have art.
We do have
for
art.
all but one of them.
All but one of them. So let's go ahead and show the Morrowan Archon first.
Now, everybody looking at that background image, right behind my head over here. Wait, I'll go this way. So that little winged thing right there, that's the Morrowan Archon. So we showed that image a couple weeks ago, but this is the model in its full detail.
Yep.
So Archons, somebody said earlier, Archon equals angel. Yes, that's effectively true. Archons are supernatural entities that work for the gods, and so they are angelic beings, as it were.
There's a couple questions about Precursor Knights in the chat right now. At launch, there will not be a legacy entry for Precursor Knights in this CID. That doesn't mean they won't change. There are some discussions happening internally.
Yeah.
We definitely want to see some battle reports with the changes and different things you're going to see available in this CID first. So we'll see. I'm not saying Precursor Knights are completely not going to enter the CID whatsoever, but not day one.
Yeah.
We are keeping an eye on them.
And sometimes we make those small points adjustments or whatever after a CID closes based on feedback and stuff like that.
There's also just some other models we want to see the interactions with Precursor Knights and see how it all plays out. Okay?
Yeah.
So the Morrowan Archon, what are the Archons? There's 6 Archons, real fast. The Archons are all Merc or Minion models that work for a variety of factions, and in some cases are also partisans. They are divine manifestations of gods or divine-like entities. So 4 of them are actually named after gods, and 2 of them aren't, and people aren't exactly sure where they came from. Every single Archon has the divine manifestation rule, which reads, this model is not a living model, cannot become knocked down, and never suffers blind.
Yeah.
All 6 of them have that blanket.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the Morrowan Archon, a little bit of what it does. First off, it's an 8-point solo with FA2 and 10 damage boxes.
So all of them are FA2. So you can have a couple of Archons in your army.
It is Def 14, Arm 18 with a shield, so effectively 14-20 with 10 damage boxes.
Yep.
And this one is definitely a defensive support one that can get in there and do some damage when it needs to. The first thing people are going to notice, it's got Veteran Leader Morrowan on it. So like all Morrowans in the army just flat out getting +1 to all their attack rolls, and it's command range of 10.
Yeah.
So you can hang it back there and just make the rest of the army like, a little bit more accurate no matter what you're doing.
Yeah. And we have a question from Dorian Clampett. Can we make a list full of Archons? There is some overlap, but there's not 100%. Like all 6 of them don't work in the same faction.
Exactly.
Yeah.
People were asking about protecting Constance Blaze souls. The Morrowan Archon has Soul Ward. Enemy models cannot gain soul tokens from models destroyed in this model's command range. So if you're running Constance Blaze and you bring the Morrowan Archon, that's one way to protect those souls and make sure that no one else gets them but Constance.
Yep.
I'm going to go through real fast the other abilities on this. It's got Sacred Ward,
Yeah.
which it can't be targeted by enemy spells. It's got Set Defense. It's got Swift Vengeance, so if somebody dies near it, it gets to move the maintenance phase and make a basic attack. We'll go through its 2 attacks here in a second. And it's got Hand of Morrow. So Hand of Morrow reads, when a friendly Morrowan model is destroyed by an enemy attack while in this model's command range, again, which is 10, after the attack is resolved, you can remove D3 damage points from another Morrowan model. Note, there's no range on that.
Yes.
So if something dies in this thing's command range, you have a global D3 heal to any other Morrowan on the table. This includes Jax. That doesn't have to be living. So you can heal Gallant. Gallant.
Whatever. One of those words.
However you want to say his name. Its name. It's a Jack.
Yeah.
You can sit there and heal Constance constantly as Precursor Knights or anything else dies.
And if your 2 Archons are within 10 inches of each other,
they can heal each other.
One gets hurt, the other one heals, back and forth. Yeah.
The Spears of Plow plus Strength 15 blessed magic weapon with Execrator, so it gets +2 to damage rolls against undead and soulless models.
Yes.
Cheers Infernals.
Yeah.
And the shield is also a Plow plus Strength 12 blessed magic shield with Execrator on it.
Yeah.
So the Morrowan Archon primarily support, but can do damage when it needs to, especially if you're fighting bad guys.
Yeah. And what we're looking at with these models is their place in the army and making sure that they have a job to do. So maybe that means their points come down, maybe that means their abilities go up a little bit, but we want feedback on if including these models matters, and not just against Infernals or against Undead, because that model has Execrator. Like, with the other new Morrowan models that are coming out and all those other things, making sure that that model has a place and is doing its job, being supporty and a little bit of an offensive model.
Yep. A couple questions in chat. Can they heal themselves with that ability? They can.
Yeah, it does not say other.
Yep. Field allowance is 2 on all Archons, so every single one of them is FA2.
No, it says remove damage points from another Morrowan model. So it does. It does.
They
say
can't heal
another.
themselves. My bad.
Yeah, you'd have to have 2 Archons healing each other back and forth.
Yep. Will Theme Forces be changed to accommodate Archons? Some of them will be, but for the time being, most people will expect to use them as your mercenary solo slot, especially in testing.
Yeah. Unless, like this next one, they're partisans of some sort.
Yes. So let's go to the Midnight Archon. Let's take a look at this bad boy.
He's an angel made of fire.
With 2 badass weapons.
With a flail and a sword, mostly fire-related weapons.
Now, as Oz just mentioned, this one is a partisan protectorate. FA2. Def 13, Arm 19, 12 damage boxes, cost 8.
So that question Dorian had earlier, the Morrowan is a mercenary that works for Crucible, Signar, and Khador. This one works for Khador and Protectorate. So
and it's also
you can have a lot of these in a Khador army.
DGC says, is that Voil? No, because they're FA2.
Yeah, it's not a named character. Now the Morrowan Archons are uplifted humans.
Yeah, they're ascended.
They're usually ascended. A lot of them are the former leaders of the church, the popes, as it were. I can't remember the specific word for it. Where's Doug?
Doug's in there.
Come on, Doug. Give me the word. So these might also be old priest kings from before. Like narratively, you can make them a bunch of different characters. Maybe one of them is Dead Severius. I don't know.
Quizador says, is there a chance we can take solos in heavy metal? Otherwise, we can't take Morrowan Archons in the theme you could take precursors in. Wait till we talk about the new themes, because there's going to be a really cool change to Flame in the Darkness. I'll just let you know now. If you take a Signar caster, it counts as a Signar theme force. So when you play Signar, it can be your other Signar list. We'll get to the themes in a bit. Don't worry, Signar players. We got you, boo.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Midnight Archon.
Yes.
So immune fire, obviously.
Yeah.
Flight. I mean, I don't know if I mentioned this on the Morrowan Archon, but also flight.
Manifestation also.
Divine Manifestation, which we mentioned earlier, which is they can't be knocked down, blind, and they're not living models.
Ashen Veil's pretty obvious also.
Has Ashen Veil, has Flame Trail, so if it touches anybody, it sets them on fire. Has Soul Ward, enemies can't get soul tokens within its command range of 10. It's got Retaliatory Strike. We'll get to its weapons here in a moment.
Yeah.
And it's got Fire's Reckoning. I'll read it. When it charges a model suffering the fire continuous effect, this model gains +2 inches of movement. This model gains boosted attack and damage rolls against models suffering fire. So if something's already on fire, you get to go further with speed 6. You can walk into it and set it on fire and then get the boosted attack and damage rolls. Also, both of its weapons cause fire, and they're both range 2. So if you don't get the extra charge range and you just walk in there and bop it with one, the second one's fully boosted.
And the Protector has a couple of ways to light things on fire.
A few ways.
Just a few.
It's 2 weapons. It's got the Blazing Sword. It's magical. It's got flat Dispel on it. So just rip off upkeeps and animi. Popular Strength 14, and it causes fire. And then the Flail is Popular Strength 13, magical, chain weapon, fire, and Grievous Wounds.
Yeah.
So one dispels, one's Grievous Wounds, and if whatever you're attacking is on fire, boosted attack and damage rolls across the board.
Also, did you mention it has 12 hit points?
Yeah, I mentioned it has 12 hit points.
So these things are beefy models. The Morrowan has 10 hit points. The Midnight has 12.
But
so they are bigger solos than most of the solos we've seen.
And the Morrowan's a 14-18 with shield. This is a 13-19 no shield 12 damage boxes. With Flame Trail, you can just run if you need to with flight. And just take if you could take the free strikes, just boop a couple people.
Yeah.
Or I don't know, have the Harbinger keep it alive.
Sure.
Whatever. So what are we keeping an eye on this one? What we want the Midnight Archon to do is it's basically a giant fiery beat stick.
Yeah.
And we want to, Swamp Mist is correcting me. We said it's not living. We added that rule in at the end, Swamp Mist, that it's not living. So that's one of the reasons why the Harbinger actually can't keep it alive.
Yeah.
That's a more recent change.
That Divine Manifestation, we wanted them to be obviously not like.
I had
living
playtest
normal.
games where I had been doing that,
Yes.
and then we changed it, and also, I'm sick, leave me alone.
Yeah.
What we're watching with this thing is we want to make sure it is beating well enough, and that for the point value, this is just a straight combat solo. It doesn't have veteran leader.
Yeah.
It doesn't have anything like that. So we want to make sure that
it's 8 points, but it's also fairly beefy with all those hit points and that armor.
Yeah.
And it's on a large base, just like I think all of them. Maybe no, there's one. I think there's one Archon on the
See,
medium.
now chat's talking about whether or not martyrdom says it affects living or not. You guys are gonna make me double check the rules. I don't have it in front of me. Test in CID and let me know.
Yeah.
I've been playing with it that way.
Yeah.
But I will tell you the change that they all became non-living is a recent change. So I have not played the Harbinger with that rule since.
Yeah. Okay. So the next one is my favorite visually.
The Thamorite?
Tony, you switching my pictures? The Thamorite is my favorite visually because these other two have been armored angels with like melee weapons.
Yeah.
This guy is an archer, and he's all like dark and mysterious. So he's not as heavily armored. He only has armor 17.
He's
But-
def 16, armor 17 with
But-
8 damage boxes.
But yes, he's still as survivable, we hope, theoretically, as the others.
16, 17 is
Because
hella
def
survivable.
16, 17 with 8 hit points. And then he's on a large base, so you can't screen him against a bunch of stuff. But unlike the others, he has parry, so he can unengage.
He has flight and parry.
Yeah. And he has some interesting rules. Dodge on def 16 models, pretty fun.
Divine Manifestation as always.
True Sight. I believe that Animosity is in the wrong spot. I think it's supposed to be at the top, but he doesn't like Midnights because Thamar doesn't like Midnights. He has Beloved of Thamar.
Which is absurd.
Yes. So I'm just going to read it.
Yep.
When a friendly Thamorite model in this model's command range misses an attack roll, it can re-roll that attack roll. Each attack roll can be re-rolled once because of that.
Yeah, so basically in Command 10 you have always on rerolls for all Thamorites.
Yeah.
With the Thamorite Archon.
Yeah.
And we did have confirmation. Martyrdom is faction warrior, not living. So my playtest from prior games was not invalidated. You could still martyrdom the Midnight Archon. Nailed it.
Now the weapon on this thing is also fairly exciting.
Before we talk about the weapon, and we mentioned it's got True Sight, it's Rat 7, because he's mainly going to be shooting. Somebody asked what factions? Crucible Guards, Signar, and Khador.
Yeah. And mercenary, of course, because it's a mercenary.
Yep.
Okay, so its weapon is called Murmur. It's a big giant bow. It's magical. It's range 12, POW 14, D3 shots.
Yep.
And it has attack types.
It has 3 attack types.
It has Death Driver.
Which is the one where you shoot somebody and kill them, you get to take control of them, they move and make an attack.
It has Eruption of Ash.
Which is Thagrosh's.
Which is an explosion.
It blows up and it deals damage to everybody within it, POW 12 fire damage roll.
And then it has the best one ever.
Go for it.
Thermar's Teeth.
Yep.
Yeah. So when this weapon hits a model with soul tokens, the damage roll is boosted.
Yep.
After resolving the attack, all the soul tokens go away.
Remove also, so you hit something, boost the damage, and then just blank all the soul tokens.
Yes.
This thing messes with Crix casters.
Yeah. And it's got D3 shots. So there's
hard.
Possibly turns where you could strip the soul tokens off of 3 things with it at range 12. And it's not any kind of, grouped firing like anything. It's a thing over there and this thing over there. So maybe things halfway across the table.
Also, Supreme Guardians, Zal. Like, there's so many people, the Thamorite
There's
Archon
things
just
with
walks up
souls.
and it's just like...
And Midnights with souls and that kind of stuff. Yeah, the Reclaimer doesn't like this thing. No Reclaimer likes this thing. The next one...
My Sacral Vault hates this thing.
The next one's the weirdest one.
So, thing we're watching on the Thamorite Archon, Thamor's Teeth. Like...
Yes, we want to make sure this model's impact on all of the factions that can play with souls is not too big.
Yeah.
Because also, remember, it's FA2. So that's possibly 6 shots that strip souls off of things and boost the damage roll as it's doing that. So, yeah, if your Ancestral or your Supreme Guardian has a soul, this is going to hit it once. But if it has a bunch of souls, or you have 2 Ancestral Guardians, you're going to,
Yeah, and then maybe that ability gets toned where it doesn't drop all soul tokens. Maybe it drops a number of them, maybe a random number. We've got dials to turn here.
Yeah.
So, like, if we find out it's too powerful, maybe it removes D3 soul tokens, right?
Yeah.
We'll get there.
But-
We've got time to test it.
But Trintius? I can't. It's hard to pronounce things
Trintius.
when my sinuses are. But they're suggesting that Soul Collection is big in the game right now, so maybe this is a good counter to all the Soul Collection that's going on. And so that's the kind of conversations we want to have. Is this shutting down too many things, or is this a really good answer to a whole bunch of stuff that's going on in the game right now?
Counterplay is good. I think it's awesome.
Okay, Tony, flip to the next picture because it's weird.
The Void Archon.
Okay, so like Hungerford said earlier, a lot of these are manifestations of godly powers. The Void is not.
Nobody knows where it's
The
from.
Void is not a god.
It works for Convergence, Crix, Retribution, and Scorn.
Yes. So basically, the people whose gods are either missing or weird or who don't exist or something. So the Void, for anybody, Doug can answer this better. But Cain is the real world. Urcain is the afterlife.
Yeah.
And the Void is the other thing. The Infernals are from outside of all of that, so they're not from the Void. So there's something else in the Void that is sending its manifestations to help.
Yeah.
And nobody exactly knows what it is. Read the Oblivion fiction in the book. It might tell you.
Or it might not.
Doug and I have been talking about fun suggestions and directions for what's going on in the Void. I hope that some of them end up in the book. So so this thing's weird.
What this thing does is it's super hard to keep track of because it has Void Walk. Mm-hmm. It's got a 10-inch spray. It's got dual attack. It can make itself incorporeal, and it's just a giant pain in the butt. So let me talk about it real fast.
Yep.
Cost 8, 10 damage boxes, Def 14, Arm 17, Mat 7, Rat 6, Speed 6. It's got Flight, obviously. It's got Divine Manifestation, which all the Archons have. Mm-hmm. It's got Dark Shrouded and Entropic Force. Yeah. So no tough and -2 armor. It can gain souls. It can spin souls to go incorporeal or to boost attack and damage rolls. It's got Soul Ward, like several of the other ones have, so enemies can't get soul tokens in its command range of 10. Uh-huh. It's got Void Walk, once per activation, immediately after resolving an attack in which it destroyed a living or undead enemy model with an attack during its combat action. You can place it anywhere. Note that works on the spray. because it has a spray 10, POW 14,
Void Howler.
and then it's got its touch, which is range 1, POW 13. So what this thing can do is spray, kill some people, vomp somewhere else, make an attack with, its melee attack with dual attack, or it can charge somebody, punch them, kill them, teleport, spray,
Yeah.
and boost.
Yeah.
On top of that, because it's like walk up, spray, teleport, or charge and attack, teleport, you can get the Entropic Force and the Dark Shroud where you want it to be.
Yeah.
So the Void Archon is the Disruption Archon is the best way to put it. It is such a pain. Void Walk is anywhere completely within 8 inches of its current location, but it doesn't end its activation, right?
Yeah.
So it can just go downtown and really put that bubble wherever you need it to be. This thing is surprisingly strong when you play against
Yeah.
it.
And it's super weird. It's my favorite
And it's super weird.
visually with his weirdness. I like the whole package of the Thamurite one, but I really like that we're doing something outside the box with this model.
People, a couple of questions. Is it partisan with any other faction? No. Somebody asked if it's another Lord of the Feast. It doesn't have any ravens, and it's not a character, so no. Rhett has a real damage buff. Yep.
Yeah.
Rhett has access to Dark Shroud now.
Yep.
So that's one of the things we've been testing a lot with this thing. And people want to know what his strength is. Sarah Jane wants to know. My favorite Sarah Jane.
How many Sarah Janes do you know?
That's it. That's not.
Okay.
That's not important. Strength 8.
Yeah. Okay. And now that we've had the very first minion, because that works for scoring, we'll go to the other minions.
The Primal Archon.
The Primal Archon. So this one is another one of those, like, the Devourer Worm is probably manifesting
Maybe.
a giant rock pile with teeth. But, you know, Dunya could have a hand in this too. Because
Definitely not a Wold. Definitely
It's
not
not.
Mulg.
no,
Just-
it's elements of different things.
Also doesn't have wings.
No, it's not an angel. It's some other thing.
First off, it's a partisan circle.
Yep.
Cheers. And it's a minion that works for Circle, Grimkin, Legion, and Trollbloods. It works for Grimkin.
Yep. Yeah.
They're natural, right?
Grimkin are part
They're
of,
primal.
They're part of Kane and Urkane. They exist in Urkane, in the wilds of Urkane. So yeah.
This thing. So first off, he has 3 natural attacks. He has a horn and 2 fists.
Yeah.
The fists have beat back on them. They're Popular Strength 14 and magical. The horn's Popular Strength 15 and magical. All 3 attacks have Earthshaker.
All 3 attacks are
Earthshaker is the Wold Wrath ability. When you hit somebody, you put down a 4-inch AoE on them, and whatever it touches is knocked down. The Primal Archon has Steady. It also has Divine.
Too.
He has Steady, Sturdy, and Divine Manifestation.
Yeah.
He's not living, can't be knocked down, can't be blind, can't be pushed. So he walks up, and it's just like, and these are all range 1 attacks. A bop you AoE, a bop you AoE, a bop you AoE, just knock down the front line. This is kind of cool because he's got counter charge. So if you walk up near him, he countercharges, bops you, Mat 8 by the way, drops the AoE and knocks you down. So that is absurd board control.
He's also got Arm 18, 12 hit points, and Hyper Regeneration.
Yep.
So if you don't kill it, and it activates, it heals some.
Now he doesn't have Flight, but he does have Pathfinder.
Yeah.
And he does have Tough with no knockdown.
Yep.
And then his new rule is Reality Anchor, which we need to read very specifically.
Yeah, read specifically.
Enemy models cannot be placed within this model's command range unless they are replacing another model. I'll explain that in a second. Additionally, enemy models cannot be summoned within this model's command range of 10. Okay, so what that means is obviously Infernals can't be summoned within 10 inches of them.
Yeah.
And no place effects work except replacing. Replacing is things like a Dragoon being dismounted, field promotion off a unit leader, Fagrosh mutagenesising, anything that is replacing, because replacing has very specific effects. And if it just said placing, because replacing is placing, if it just said placing, it would blue screen War Machine. But this means Mirage doesn't work, TK doesn't work, Teleport, the Void guy, anything that just straight up lets you place within 10 inches of him, can't do it.
This guy disbelieves a lot of your shenanigans.
It's called Reality Anchor, and he just flat out says, no,
Yeah.
you just don't get to do that. So if a rule says replace model, you're allowed to do it.
Yep.
If it says place, can't do it.
Yeah.
Lord of the Feast, who was brought up earlier, can throw his Raven at the Primal Archon all day he wants, and it will do nothing.
Now, it says enemy, so models on your side can still.
Well,
do it.
yeah,
But
obviously. Yeah, I'm talking about enemy Lord of the
He
Feast.
still lets you do shenanigans, just not your opponent.
And Sabian Asher says, what about summoning? Enemy models cannot summon in his command range of 10. So
Cannot
when
be summoned, so yeah, it says it right there.
When an Infernal army rolls up, they can't summon within 10 inches of your Primal Archons. Their FA2, remember, these are the forces rising up against the Infernals.
And that is one of the things I want people to pay attention to the most. Because we are gonna play games with Infernal models using the most up-to-date PDF. We're probably gonna adjust a couple of things because we're finalizing some of those after CID things. So today or tomorrow we'll probably post an updated PDF so you have all the most up-to-date Infernal rules. But pay attention to that rule and Infernals in the interaction. Because yes, FA2 models with a 10-inch bubble of no summoning can cover a lot of table.
This thing's awesome.
So it's one of the things we want to keep track of.
A couple questions in chat. Somebody said Miniman's jump. Yeah, all the jump abilities. So
you can't
Scorn Kittens roll up and they're like, we're going to jump. No, you're not.
No, he's like extra gravity.
Extra gravity on top.
something.
Minutemen are like, we've got jetpacks and we're high tech. No, you're not.
No.
You stay on the ground.
No.
Totem Hunter rolls up and he's like, I don't want a part of this. He leaves because the minions are smart.
Oh, they are. And then the last Archon, we sadly don't have an image for this. So there's a list at the end of the concept art thread. We are finalizing the concept art for about half the models in the CID still, so we don't have an image for all of them.
Mm-hmm.
But more than likely, those will start coming in before the end of the CID, and we will get them out on Twitter and probably update that thread too.
Yep. The Dunya Archon is the only medium-based Archon. It looks like an old Earth Mother.
Yes, imagine a fertility goddess, a very traditional fertility goddess.
It's a minion that works for Circle and Trolls and is a partisan Trolls. Defensive, Def 13, Arm 17, 8 damage boxes. Also the only 7-cost
Yes,
Archon.
it's the cheapest Archon right now.
This Archon does not want to be in the midst of things. She has an old oak she swings, which is popular strength 12 and has Dispel. She's mat 7, so she can bop somebody if she wants to.
Yeah.
But that's not really the point. I'll just read what all she brings. She has Divine Manifestation, which all of them have. She has Final Embrace. When this model is destroyed or removed from play by an enemy attack, other friendly models within 10 inches of it heal D3 damage points, remove D3 damage points. So when this thing dies, she explodes in a healing burst for all your friendly models within 10 inches. That's beasts, solos, casters, everybody.
Yep.
Litanies of the Great Mother. While in this model's command range, which is 10, models with soul tokens suffer -2 to their attack and damage rolls. She has Soul Ward, so that enemies can't get soul tokens within 10 inches of her. And she has Threads of Life. By the way, none of these are actions. These are all just passive abilities she has. Threads of Life. Once per turn, when a friendly non-warlock living warrior model is in this model's command range is disabled, she can take D3 damage points to remove 1 damage point from the disabled model. She has a once per turn martyrdom.
Yeah.
So she gets to martyrdom for Trolls and Circle, and then when she dies, she just heals everybody.
Yeah.
Now,
unless she died because of Threads of Life.
Unless she died because of Threads of Life.
It's destroyed or removed from play by an enemy attack. So it doesn't. You can't Threads of Life all the way down and then get a pulse of healing too.
Yes. Also, Threads of Life, friendly non-warlock living model, not friendly faction. So as a minion, works in both the factions. Same thing with Final Embrace. It's not faction. So she shows up, she gets to martyrdom people, and then when she dies, she heals all of them.
And this is the most supporty of all the Archons.
Yes, by far.
And so that's what we want to look at is this model filling a role and has a good enough place to be just basically supporting an army. And you will more than likely get her involved because to get killed, she has to be attacked. So if you want to get that pulse, you're going to put her in a place where your opponent has to remove her and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. People bring up the Threads of Life is living. The Final Embrace is not. So when she dies, if you're playing her in Circle, she can heal Wolds.
Yep.
But the martyrdom is only for living warriors. So that's the 6 Archons.
That's the 6 Archons.
It's time to move on to the stuff no one's seen yet. Tony, are we ready? I guess we are because you just brought it up.
Bam!
It's Alexia 3, everyone.
Alexia, the Undying.
That's right. Alexia's back. She's on foot. Who knows where the horse went?
That horse probably just rotted away. It was dead.
Maybe it's like some never-ending story stuff. It like fell in the mud and she couldn't get it out.
And she was sad about it? She cried?
She's
and
all
she
like,
begged?
Atreyu!
No. She didn't yell Atreyu.
Atreyu
is his name.
Atreyu! I know.
I can't remember the horse's name.
No one knows the horse's
Everyone
name.
knows the horse's
Artax.
See, Artax. The horse's name is Artax.
Man, it's been like 2 decades since I've watched that movie.
Man, you should watch that movie more often. Anyway, Alexia 3 is a mercenary solo that will work for Signar and Khador.
Yep.
She has elite cadre undead solos. He gives them shield guard.
All undead solos pick up shield guard.
Undead solos get shield guard. She has flank undead,
It's real good.
so she's good at fighting around undead. She has passive necromancy. Once per turn, when a living warrior model is destroyed by an enemy attack while in this model's command range,
Which is 9.
remove the box model from play and replace it with a thrall warrior model.
Yep. So she has passive make thrall warriors
And
once per turn.
It loses its combat action, but she can put out things that then she can flank and gain shield guard.
Now this is once per turn, and it's when it's killed by an enemy attack. So here's what's interesting here: you can do it on both turns. On
Yeah.
your turn, one of your guys gets killed. Make a thrall warrior. On your turn, one of your guys takes a free strike and dies.
Yep.
Make a thrall warrior. So it's once per turn specifically, and the idea is that you can actually be like, do you want to take that free strike? Because if you do,
Yeah.
I'm going to make a thrall warrior who now has shield guard, and who flanks with her.
Yeah.
Then she also has 3 spells.
She has 3 spells, and the Witchfire, which is the weapon she still has, is giving her spell ward, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So her 3 spells are Hellfire, which is a range 10, POW 14 shot.
She's magic ability 8, by the way.
She's magic ability 8. She has null magic. For 1 round, models cannot cast spells in her command range of 9.
Yep.
And she has Power of Death, which undead friendly models in her command range get +2 strength.
Yep, +2 strength. She works for Signar and Khador. There's a unit we're going to talk about in a bit.
It's coming.
That's
It's
coming
at the
later
end.
on.
It's near the end.
That I want you to keep in mind when we talk about Alexia.
Yeah, it's a real good.
Also, the Witchfire upgraded a little bit.
Yeah.
It has Devour Essence. A model hit by this weapon loses all Essence points and soul tokens on it. So she can walk up to a Supreme Guardian, an Infernal Horror, Terminus,
A master.
a Sacral Vault, a Master. She is Heiress 1
Yeah.
against soul tokens and Essence points. Walks up, bops them.
Now,
It's just gone.
She's an arm 15, 5 hit point solo. But
Sure.
she has Def 15, which should keep her alive some. And she has Shield Guard. She gives Shield Guard to undead, so she's going to be hard to shoot from across the table.
Yeah.
But yes, that is probably the thing I'm most concerned about, is her ability to just run up there and strip a master of its essence or whatever. If you know, positioning and
See, I'm
everything.
fine with it 'cause
But I think it'll be okay because it's going to be hard to pull off.
It's harder to pull off an Heiress 1 walking up and shooting somebody
Oh.
and ripping all their focus off.
Yeah.
And this requires Alexia, speed 6, range 1, to charge an Infernal Master and hit them with no way to buy additional attacks.
And people are asking, she's 5 points.
Yeah, she's 5 points. So, Alexia the Undying, I think she's good. I actually don't have any particular concerns about her. And I think when you see some of the other models coming up later on, you'll understand why she has the Power of Death ability that increases the strength of undead, and why she gives undead solos the shield guard and all that kind of cool stuff.
The next model is the model that comes with Oblivion. So the Oblivion's a box set.
Not those yet. Put those away, Tony.
Slow down, Tony.
Slow down, Tony.
down.
We'll let you know, Tony.
Yeah. So
We'll let you know.
this
Nobody's seen those yet, Tony.
an early image of this model was shown at Gamma, but I don't think we have the final concept art, so it's not on the things yet. But more likely, it's gonna be one of the models that I post up there. And it. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong screen. I'm like, wait, Tony's putting the picture back up, but it's a delay. So.
Oh yeah, they're delayed.
When you buy Oblivion as a box set, you're going to get the Oblivion book, which is going to be a big book with fiction and other stuff like that, like an old anthology book.
Yeah, the new digest.
There's going to be a digest in there with some rules cleanup stuff, and there's going to be a Hermit of Hingehold, a mercenary minion solo,
And you'll also have the new.
and you also have the cards for
the campaign.
the Oblivion campaign.
So let's talk about real fast.
I just want to read this.
Go for
This
it.
is a mercenary model that works for Crucible, Crix, Signar, Infernals, Khador, Protectorate, and Retribution. And it's a minion that works for Circle, Gribkin, Legion, Scorn, and Trollbloods. Unless I'm mistaken, that's every single faction in the game.
He's also partisan infernal, and he's
also-
also partisan retribution.
Yeah, he's a confused model. He's a little bit crazy, and he doesn't really know from day to day who he likes and what he wants.
He's mad.
He's a mad. We called him the Mad Prophet for a while as his placeholder.
He's Paul Revere. He's basically running around saying the Infernals are coming, but he's driven mad by
sometimes
them.
he likes that the Infernals are coming.
Yeah, he's crazy.
Yeah. And he's a character, so he doesn't have an official, given name, but the Hermit of Hingehold is his name, and he's a character.
Somebody asked, is Convergence on that list? No.
No. but I think that might be a typo.
That might be a typo.
Yeah.
We'll check.
Yeah, we'll have to check. I'm pretty sure he's supposed to work for everybody.
So he's Def 11, Arm 11 with 5 damage boxes.
But first ability is Ancient Shroud.
He has Ancient Shroud. He only ever
So-
takes a point of damage from an attack.
Yeah.
Then he's a Marked Soul, so if you bring him in an Infernal army,
Yes.
you can use him to summon. He has Dark Prophecy. When this model is destroyed by an enemy attack, enemy models in its command range of 10 lose their essence points and cannot cast spells, channel spells, or be forced for 1 round.
Yes. He does weird things to magic when he dies.
If you kill him in the middle of an Infernal army, like in the Beasts,
Yeah.
it just wrecks them. Also, can't be forced for 1 round.
Uh-huh.
It's just like, yeah, kill him. Go for it. Go for it. I mean, hit him 5 times, but do it. He's got Mad Visions. Model can use Mad Visions once per game when a friendly non-infernal model is hit by an enemy attack while in his command range. The friendly model does not suffer a damage roll from the attack. So once per game, you just get to visions someone. They just flat out don't take a damage roll.
And then he has Whispers of the Gate, which is a, not really attack type, but a bullet point ability.
He has 3 abilities he can use at any time during his activation.
Once
They're
per
like
game
prayers.
During activations. So the first one's Grip of Shadows. He gains Telemetry, which means +2 to magic attacks
Yep.
by other models when they target things in his command range. Wages of Sin. While in his command range, enemy marked souls suffer -2 strength and arm.
And friendly Marked Souls.
And friendly marked souls get +2 strength and tough.
So he's good against Infernals and good for Infernals.
If you and your opponent are playing Infernals and you both have the Hermit of Hingehold, things are going to be happening with your marked souls that he can counter kind of back and forth.
Yeah.
And then the last one is Word of Ruin.
Yeah.
Remove an essence point from each enemy Infernal model currently within 5 inches of him, and add an essence point to each friendly Infernal model currently within 5 inches of him.
Yeah.
So this model is both for Infernals and anti-Infernals in weird ways. So
Yes. So he's got a lot going on. We definitely want to see him played with Infernals. We want to see him played against Infernals. And we want to see him played outside of Infernals and see what he's doing for other people that they're enjoying.
yeah, and the question, Wages of Sin, at the moment it does not say other friendly Marked Souls, so it does give him +2 strength and tough, but he has no weapons.
Yep.
So his strength isn't going to help much.
So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more things to talk about.
Yes.
One
But
of
the
which
next 3, Tony, do not have art.
One of which is a Thamorite, and the other 6 are all Order of Illumination Morrowans.
Yeah.
Because the other half of Oblivion, the Infernals,
Yeah.
and like I said, the Archons appearing to fight them, and then the forces of Morrow and Thamar rising up
Yeah.
to stop the Infernals.
So we've seen Order of Illumination models before because Harlan Verse exists. Order of Illumination is basically the witch hunter kind of thing. They go after sorcerers and infernalists and other undead and that kind of stuff. So this is basically Harlan Verse's friends joining the wars with all their crazy anti-undead pistols and stuff like that.
So let's talk about the first one. It's their character Cav model. It's Grandmaster Gabriel Throne, who we don't have the final concept art for just yet. Imagine a giant armored classic Morrowind knight,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Def 13, Arm 18, 10 damage boxes, costs 8, Partisan Signar, works for Crucible Guard, Signar, and Khador. He's Cav, he's tough. He's got Tactician Morrowind, so Morrowinds can move through each other. Yay.
He's got reposition 3 because he's heavy cap.
He's got Blessed Wards. He gets +3 armor against damage rolls made by Infernals and Undead. And he has Battle Plan, and he has 3 battle plans. Heroic Call, target friendly faction model / unit, it gets tough. March, which is what the Piper has, it gives somebody Pathfinder. And Words of the Prophet, range 5, target friendly Morrowind warrior model / unit. If they're in range, they get Divine Inspiration, which is what Connie B's feat now does. But now this guy can walk up and do it to a single model / unit, which is signs of importance for melee attacks.
Yeah. Then he has an Execrator Pistol, like I said, which gets +2 to damage rolls against soulless and undead models, just like the Morrowind.
It's range
Archon's
10,
weapons.
POW 12, Blessed Magic.
Yep. And then he has a Battle Blade, which is a range 2, POW 12 weapon that has Blessed, Weapon Master, and Magical.
Yes.
And then he has a Mount Attack, which is POW 12.
Yep. So what does this guy do? He walks up, he supports your forces. This is very much the Morrowind Gravis, without the same, obviously the same abilities.
Yeah.
Walks up, supports the Morrowind army, gives them Tactician, hangs out, and when he wants to get in there and do some damage, he gets up there and just murders a bunch of people. I like this guy a lot. We've tested him. He's just super fun to play with. And if you're playing the all Morrowind army, He's just like a must-have as one of your characters. Doug Seacat is in our chat right now and says he's the military leader of the Order of Illumination.
Yes, he's the Grand Master because he leads that sect in the church.
Yep. Before we move on to the other all Morrowan parts, including new infantry, by the way. 3 new units of infantry?
One new unit that's been literally in the fiction since the beginning of the game.
Yeah, people are talking about new units of Precursor Knights. You're getting 3 brand new Order of Illumination Morrowan units in Oblivion.
But first, the Thamurite.
But first,
the Thamurite Advocate,
Thamurite.
which is a FA3 3-point mercenary minion solo that works for Crucible Guard, Signar, Kadar, and Circle.
Yep.
That's
So
weird, Doug. Why should she work for Circle? Anyway, so she's blessed at Thamar. So when this model is destroyed by an enemy attack, infernal models in its command range lose an essence. So if it explodes...
Doug, by the way, says, don't pretend like I decide those things.
Sure. So if this model dies, it explodes in an anti-infernal -1 essence ability. She's got magic ability 7 and 3 spells.
Yep.
She's got Hexbolt, so range 6, POW 13, knocks off upkeeps and stuff.
No, Hexbolt, that's Hexblash you're thinking of. Hexbolt is they can't make
I forgot
special actions, special attacks, or power attacks.
Hexes are all hexes, right?
No.
Oh, someone guessed what it was. Two pooches and paint. And a
2
pint.
pooches and a pint did
Two
guess
pooches and a
what one
pint.
of the
Guess
units
what it
is going to
was.
be.
We'll get to them in a second. So, she's got Fell Curse. While within 5 inches of this model, enemies lose tough and cannot have damage removed from them.
That's amazing, by the way.
That's pretty
Fell
good.
Curse is a range 5 Grievous that affects... you don't even have to attack. It's while within... It's Entropic Force on a stick.
It's Entropic Force on a stick.
Yeah.
And then, barring the gates, when a model in this model's command range casts a spell, increase the cost of the spell by 1. Additionally, when an infernal model in this model's command range summons a horror, the infernal must spend 1 additional essence point to summon, and it lasts for a round.
So Pseudo Lamentation against spells and...
There's a weird typo in there. It lasts for a round. It does not last for a round turn.
Yeah, we'll fix that.
That's a little typo.
So the
and, no weapons on this model.
Well, it's got Sucker and it's got Repo 3. So what's important is it moves up 6. It uses it Hexbolts if it wants to, but most times I think it's either going to be doing the Entropic Force aura or it's going to be doing the Pseudo Lamentation aura, and then repoing further into position of where it wants. So you're looking at a 9-inch move and then either an 8-inch Lamentation bubble, so that's a 17-inch total, or you're going to move up 9 and then have the 5-inch Entropic, so that's a 14-inch bubble from wherever these things are standing. They're only 3 points.
Yeah, and they're FA3, so you could save them and send them in like 1 turn at a time, or you could try to blanket the board with their effects all at once.
Yeah. So let's get on to the first Morrowan unit.
Not art yet, Tony. Not art yet. Close. We're very close.
Hey, Signar.
The next one.
Signar, would you like some medium-based infantry?
Ooh. How long?
It's only been...
Forever? Literally? Are you counting?
It's been 16 years.
Yeah.
Would you like some medium-based infantry? We're going to give you some medium-based infantry.
So, mercenary Morrowan unit called the Order of Illumination Resolutes.
Who are partisan Signar.
They also work for Crucible, Signar, and Kador. They have alchemical masks.
Well, so it's a 3 or 5 man medium-based unit. Let's talk a little bit about what they look like.
And they cost $813 right now.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about what they kind of are. The best way to describe them without showing you all the concept art is imagine anti-demon hazmat monster hunters.
Yeah.
It's the best way to put it. Because they have execrator cannons and blessed halberds. This is like the SWAT team against infernals when they show up.
Yeah.
So it's like whenever there's a massive invasion happening, who goes in first? The Resolutes.
Yeah.
So 5 damage boxes, 12, 17. They've got set defense. They've got holy bonds, so enemy models cannot gain their soul token.
Yep.
They've got alchemical mask. They've got blessed wards, so +3 armor against infernals and undeads.
Same thing as Throne has.
They've got true sight, and then they've got a range 10, POW 13 blessed magic execrator cannon with execrator, which is +2 damage against infernals and undead, and then a blessed magic execrator halberd, which is power strength 13.
And they have Mat 7.
They're Mat 7, Rat 6.
So they're not slouches.
They cost 813.
At the moment, points are the easiest thing to adjust.
So This is, and they're tough. This is a super cheap, medium base. Just get in there. Even if you don't face Infernals or Undead, it's a solid little unit.
Yeah.
Right? They can get up there and hold the line. True Sight AoEs are always pretty strong with Rat 6 and Blessed in Magic, right?
Someone, Kogrin, is complaining that we cannot pronounce excruciator. That's because it's not that word. It's execrator. E-X-E, crater. Execrator. It's not excruciator.
I can't word normally.
I mean, you can't. You pronounce
Down in the bayou, we don't learn.
Ancestral.
Words are not what we get taught first.
You put some plural
Survival.
words in here, there, in places, and
You learn how to hunt, and you learn how to run. Speaking comes after.
Yeah. So, Tony, we got a piece of art for the next one.
The Order of the Illumination Vigilance.
There we go. So
Just
think-
straight up monster hunters.
think classic, like vampire hunter kind of models. Yeah. So they got crossbows. They've got swords. They have fewer rules than most of the models we've talked about. They're a 6'10" unit that's 3 or 5 models, so it's not a big 10-man unit.
To me, what these guys are, before we go over the rules, whereas the Resolutes are like the frontline SWAT,
Yeah.
these are the assassins.
Yeah.
And they've got 80 Pathfinder stealth. They're 14-12, right?
Yeah.
Matt Rat 7, and they're speed 6. These are definitely like the get up there sort of skirmishy assassin type Order of Illumination.
Yeah. And they have gang. Their heavy crossbow is range 10, POW 12 with magic and execrator.
Yeah, let's not bypass that. They have gang.
I know.
They're Mat 7. They
But
go up to
people-
Mat 9.
People know what gang is.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. And then they have great swords, which are range 1, POW 11, magical execrator also.
Yeah, they're very cheap. They're only 6'10", right?
But they're also a 3-5 unit on small bases, which we don't normally do.
So at worst,
For combat units, at least.
At worst, you're paying 10 points for a 5-man unit that can charge in at Mat 9, POW plus strength 13, possibly 15 if you're facing Infernals or Undead. And they've got stealth to help deliver them, and they've got AD and Pathfinder to use terrain to their advantage on the way in. They work for Crucible Guards, Signar, Khador, and they are partisan Signar, just like the Resolutes are.
Yeah, the Church of Morrow is headquartered in Signar, so these guys are well integrated in the...
All the remaining models we're going to talk about are all partisan Signar.
Yes.
And they're mercenaries with partisan Signar.
And this next one is the last piece of art we have. So imagine those models as a solo. So this is Glenn Cormier. Doug, help us out.
In the South, we pronounce that Cormier.
Yeah, I don't know if it's Cormier or Cormier or whatever Doug says it is. And she's another illuminated one. So she's like Harlan Verse. She's a agent of the church that runs around and does whatever she needs to do. She's a mercenary, same as the last ones, Crucible Guard, Signar, Khador, and a partisan Signar.
Oh, and all these models have subtype Morrowan, if we're not saying
Yeah,
that.
they're
So she's
all mercenary Morrowan solos,
Yeah.
mercenary Morrowan units. She's got 80 Pathfinder Stealth Tough Dodge on Def 15, Arm 12 with 5 hit points. She's got Leadership, Order of Illumination, Vigilance, so she works with those guys to give them
True Sight.
True Sight. She has True Sight. She has Sprint.
But let's talk about one of the most ridiculous things we've ever printed in our life.
What's that?
So she has a sword. It's a Weapon Master Sword, POW plus strength 10, magic. Cool, whatever.
Sure.
Her gun is called Banisher.
Uh-huh.
It's range 12. It's POW 12. Don't forget she has True Sight. She's Mat 8, Rat 7. And it's got Banish. When this model hits an enemy non-Warcaster, non-Warlock, non-Infernal Master model with this weapon during its activation, after its resolve, place that model anywhere D3 plus 1 inches of its current location. A model can be placed by Banish once per turn. She walks 7, shoots 12, and teleports battle engines, or whatever the hell you want to shoot. Oh, you brought Behemoth? How about I just bloop, turn him 4 inches, go that way.
Yeah.
It's a place, by the way, so it turns you the other way.
Yeah.
Which makes Primal Archons even that much better, because they can't banish while they're in the spot.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
This is the model that I personally am the most concerned about.
Yeah, that long threat range Banish is a lot like Befuddle and TK and other abilities that disrupt and reposition enemy models. It's very powerful.
So, everyone testing, I will let my personal opinion, please break Banish as soon as you can.
Yeah.
I am not a fan of it. I think it's a bit much.
And she's a 6-point model. She's a character, so you can only have one of her, but she's pretty cheap, She's got a very, very powerful gun.
Yeah. We had a long conversation about this one. Obviously, the dev team all works together, and
Yep.
so sometimes things come out that certain members of it we don't like,
Yeah.
and it just happens. But I will say that I think Banish is absurd, and I'm waiting to see what people do with that. I imagine it gets nerfed week 1, but we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Maybe it's okay, and maybe I'm overreacting, and maybe it's fine. And I really want to see people's battle reports and what they're able to pull off with it.
Yeah. So here they are. The unit we were talking about earlier that was in the Witchfire trilogy.
This is how bad the Infernals are, everyone.
RPG.
They're bringing the undead to battle.
So the Legion of Lost Souls is a bunch of old dead Signaran warriors that Doug can tell you why, but they can come back to protect Signar. In the Witchfire trilogy, Alexia helps raise them up to defeat the Scorn that are invading. And Infernals are worse than Scorn. So the Legion of Lost Souls is a mercenary Morrowan unit. Mm-hmm. They are 11-18 right now, points-wise, and they are FA3. Mm-hmm. So you can have 30 of these things on the table at a time.
Sure.
But it's a big points investment.
They're undead.
They're undead, of course, because they're Legion of Lost Souls. They work for a Crucible, Signar, Khador. They're partisan Signar.
Yep.
They have combined melee attack, shield wall, soul vessels, so they still have a soul in them.
They generate souls so that Constance Blaze can reclaim them,
And they have bloodbound.
which is something that we originally saw on the Devil Shadow Mutineers,
Yeah.
which is whenever one of them kills a living enemy model with an attack, they do have a ranged and a melee attack, so either one of those, you get to replace somebody that died in the unit back. So this unit can walk up, shield wall, shoot their heavy pistols. They've got magical heavy pistols at range 8, PAL 12, Rat 5. Or they can use their magic halberds, range 2, PAL plus strength 12 magical, with CMA, and refill their own ranks.
And Mat 7.
And Mat 7.
Yeah. So these are a bunch of skeletons that can bring themselves back by killing opponents.
Yeah.
And Alexia gives them
+2 strength.
Gives them +2 strength and flanks off of them.
Yes.
Now she doesn't give them shield guard because that's undead solo. So you don't have 30 shield guards on the table. But
So Legion of the Lost Souls is the third and final unit coming out for the Morrowinds as part of this. And like we mentioned before, they are partisan Signar.
Yep.
And then finally, we have the Morrowind Battle Priest. Another
Which
partisan.
is a mercenary weapon attachment.
Yes. Can be attached to any smaller medium-based Signar or Morrowind unit.
Yep.
Is a partisan Signar. Okay. This is the other thing I'm concerned about, everyone. So I'm going to read this one out, and I would be very interested to see your testing during the CID cycle.
You're worried about this PAL 10 blessed magical sword, right?
I am not worried about their sword. So this is a weapon attachment. You can have three of them.
Attachment.
You can attach this to any Signar unit and any Morrowind unit. So mainly I'm worried about Signar units. What it does is gives them Rise and True Sight. Granted Rise, granted True Sight. Then it's also got Spellbreaker. When this model hits another model with an attack, enemy upkeeps on that expire, and the spellcaster can take D3 damage to keep it around. But giving Rise and True Sight to all of Signar concerns me a lot. And so I definitely want to see what everybody is able to pull off in their just basic Signar lists with this weapon attachment.
Yeah.
True Sight Stormlances, pretty cool. True Sight Long Gunners, pretty cool.
Can't attach them to
not Stormlances, sorry. But True Sight Long
Small
Gunners,
or medium base models.
like Trencher Long Gunners, Gun Mages, just a lot of the Trenchers. Trencher, the Express team, picking up True Sight. There's a lot going on with that. So test that one. Let us know what you think. Is it broken? Is it too strong? You know, is it something that needs to go away? It basically says that the Cloud Wall meta will not exist because any Signar or Merc player can bring this and just get rid of it.
So here's another little thing. We are making some previous models Morrowinds and Thamrites.
This is important for the theme forces we're going to talk about in a second.
So Captain Allison Jakes and
her junior version
and Lieutenant Allison Jakes become Morrowinds. All strikers, Ashlyn and Beth Maddox are also Morrowinds now.
So when we talk about the theme force that says you can bring Morrowind Warcasters, those are all now added.
And then Thamrites, Zerkova, all the Zerkovas, and Lieutenant Cross is also a Thamrite.
Let's talk about the new themes, and then we're going to wrap it up and get the CID underway. There are 3 new themes we're going to test, and they are weird. They are cross-faction themes.
One of them you have seen a version of before, but it is not the same list.
So at the start of each one of these, I want to talk about something, and that is how it's going to work in Steamroller.
Yeah.
So one of these theme forces, Hearts of Darkness, is a flat-out infernal theme force. When you play Infernals, you have access to Dark Legacy and you have Hearts of Darkness. It doesn't matter which caster you bring, all models in the army are considered to be infernal models. In the other two themes, Warriors of the Old Faith and Flame in the Darkness, there's a rule that says all models in the army are considered to be the faction of the caster you take. So Warriors of the Old Faith is Khador and Protectorate Cav models. So this is going to be both a Khador and a Protectorate theme force. What that means is when you show up to an event, if you're playing Khador, you have access to Warriors of the Old Faith. If you're playing Protectorate, you have access to the Warriors of the Old Faith. But you have to be playing a caster that makes it those models.
Yeah.
Then the third one, Flame in the Darkness, Morrowan Warcasters, which we just mentioned all of them, Thamorite Warcasters, which we just mentioned all of them. All models in an army made use of this theme are considered to be the same faction of the Warcaster in that army. So if you bring Striker in Flames of the Darkness, it becomes a Signar theme force.
Yeah.
If you play Fiona, it becomes a mercenary theme force. And that's going to be something to keep in mind on how these theme forces are going to work with all the different factions.
Yeah.
The one that's kind of the exception is Hearts of Darkness, which we're going to list all the casters you can take, and there are a variety of factions. No matter what, Hearts of Darkness is just an infernal theme force.
First bullet point says all these models are infernal models.
Yes.
If they're in this theme.
So what we're seeing is a bunch of themes that are going to work for a bunch of different
Yes.
factions. So
Yes.
Hearts of Darkness, conceptually, this is the theme force where these casters might have been corrupted by the Infernals. This is kind of
or they're trying to take advantage
of the Infernals.
of what the Infernals are doing to politics or religion or whatever's going on.
Jeff in Twitch chat says, can you bring two factions in a tournament? Typically, no. You pick a faction, and then you pick two or sometimes more lists for that, and all your theme forces and so on have to belong to that faction. So that's going to be really important for this.
Yeah, and we're getting other questions about can I do this and can I do that. We'll talk about specifically how things interact as we go to the theme forces.
Yep. Somebody says, what happens if you bring Connie B, who is a partisan? It just depends on which way you're playing.
Yeah, partisans work off of what faction you've chosen to build your army out of. So if you're building a Signar army, you pick Signar, and then you put Constance in it, and she becomes a partisan Signar.
Yep.
If you're building a mercenary army, she's a merc. So she doesn't choose what the army is. You pick what the faction is, and then she follows it.
You got it.
So Hearts of Darkness.
Let's start.
It was overhauled after it appeared mildly in the last CID.
Well, before the problem was we said you could take any like Khador, Crucible Guard, or Signar casters, and that's just entirely too many interactions.
Yeah.
So we really toned it down to specific casters that we wanted to do.
Yeah. Now this is still a what if, not exactly following the canon of these characters actually becoming evil people that are following the Infernals. But it's some of these characters you could imagine would have reasons to possibly go this way.
Yeah.
And the top one on the list.
There's, real fast in chat, a lot of people are talking about the way that the themes are going to work between factions to go to an event. That's the way we currently have proposed for it to work. During the CID, I'm sure we can have discussions about, but we want to make sure that like it makes sense to a player and that it's not confusing in any way. And right now saying, your choice of caster makes this theme force belong to that faction in an event is the cleanest and easiest way to do it. Maybe we can come up with a cooler way, but we want to make sure that it's not this weird convoluted way of an EO trying to figure out, okay, you're playing Khador, but you're playing with Resnick too because you're playing, we want to make sure that it's easy.
Yeah. Okay, so Quasidor, whatever your name is, you guessed correctly, unless you already said it. Fiora is the first caster available in Hearts of Darkness.
All three of her versions.
Fiora's not always following the rules, so Fiora can play with Infernals.
Oh snap! That means. Yeah.
Okay, Morton Nebra is the Crix caster because Morton Nebra's already changed factions once.
Yep.
Canonically, not in the models, but Morton Nebra was originally a Convergence priest who was like, this is not enough, I want some undead juices too.
Yep.
So Morton Nebra will work with anything. Lucas Demore, RM Legate Lucas Demore from the Crucible Guard.
Yes.
He's a dangerous guy who doesn't really care about his own safety and stuff, so he's willing to try whatever.
Yep.
Captain Kara Sloan.
What up, girl?
Captain Kara Sloan. Commander Andrei Malikov.
Malikov too.
Malikov's, he's just a jerk. Of course he's probably an Infernalist.
Yeah.
And then Lieutenant Cross, Resistance Fighter.
Yep.
So people might have questions about Lieutenant Cross, Resistance Fighter. His gun is evil technology of some sort. I think it might be an infernal gun. And so he becomes a Thamurite to try and figure out the gun, but he also can work for Infernals because he's got an evil gun.
A couple questions. Somebody says Morty 1 and 2. Yes.
Yeah,
and it says,
Ultimate or-
and it's Fiora 1, 2, and if there ever is a 4.
Yes, it says Fiora Warcasters, Morton Ever Warcasters, and yeah.
Like if there was a 4 in like a weird alternate timeline that showed up one day in the future, like where everything had been destroyed.
We've already said that there
All right.
are some 4s happening in the future of the future.
Butcher 4 wasn't he's a solo. So it'd be,
he's not in here.
No.
Okay, so then, of course, non-character warjacks of the same faction as the caster's army. Lesser and light horrors that are with Princess Gravnoy, so Regna. Up to 2 non-partisan units of the same faction as the caster.
Yep.
Up to 3 non-partisan, non-Archon solos, because no Archons are going to work.
No Archons working for Infernals.
And then cultist bands, Griever swarms, Howlers, of course, Princess Regna, the Hermit of Hingehold, and then a bunch of the solos that are in Infernals. Maybe all of the solos that are in Infernals.
And you'll
Kezia, Asher, Mordecai, the Umbral Guardians, Valiant Hawk, the Wretch, and Infernal Structures.
Yep. So the benefits you're going to end up getting for every 20 points of unit solos and structures, you get a free command attachment, Umbral Guardian or small base solo, and friendly model
with marked soul. So not anybody, just marked souls.
And friendly model / units can begin the game with upkeep spells on them. This is benefit-wise, it's kind of a basic one. The top bullet
very
point
light.
is all models in the army become infernal models, and that is kind of the main bullet point. Because this
Yeah.
lets you go to an event and say, I am playing Infernals as my faction. What are your 2 army lists? Fiora 2 and Morton Eber 1.
Fiora 2 and some Zealots, and
Yeah.
Morton Number 1 and some...
I'm playing Malikov with some Mana War, and then I'm also playing Cross with Crows. I'm just saying things out there,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah,
it is a very hard theme force to pin down when you're trying to fight against it, because you can bring such wildly different lists. That's why we really tone down the casters available into it, because we can more carefully balance the specific interactions of what these casters could do, also with all access to all the infernal models and them all counting as the same faction.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will say that these 3 theme forces we're putting out are probably going to be a big bulk of a lot of our attention, because they do a lot of weird things. The next one is Warriors of the Old Faith.
We teased this one, and everybody that I talked to at Adepticon was super excited about it.
Yeah. So the first line of it, before we go into what you can take, is all models in an army made using this theme force are considered to be of the same faction as the warcaster in this army. You got access to 4 casters. So it's Khador Cav Warcasters and Protectorate Cav Warcasters. That's Krios 3, Fiora 3, Resnick 2, and Vlad 3. So if you pick Vlad 3, it's a Khador theme force. If you pick the other 3, it's a Protectorate theme force. It can take, no matter which you pick, non-character Khador Warjacks, non-character Protectorate Warjacks, Khador Cav models, Protectorate Cav models. It does get Choir, which I know is a big question.
Yeah.
It gets Cossites, the Hermit, Manhunters, Midnight Archons, Vassal solos, Yuri the Axe, War Dog solos, and Rack solos.
Yeah.
So what, specifically, because all models become the same faction, and you get access to non-character Khador Warjacks and Protector Warjacks, you can take Vlad 3 with Crusaders. You can take Krios 3 with Juggernauts. They become Protectorate models or Khador models, respectively, based off the caster. You could take Adjudicator with Vlad 3, and it becomes a Khador model. All cavalry models gain Linebreaker, which is an additional die on all their impact attacks. You get to re-roll your starting roll for the game to really help make sure you go first in this all Cav force.
Yeah, because they're getting where they want to be before the battle.
And then for every 20 points of units and solos, you either get 2 free Vassal solos or 1 small base solo to the army free of charge. This theme force excites the hell out of me.
Yeah, it's that giant horse lord army that people have always wanted.
Yeah.
Because there are 4 horse units. You got the Ulans and the Avengers, and then of course Flamebringers and Greylord Outriders are in there, and then it says Cav model units, so Dracoons and Gravis and
Also,
everything else.
Choir and Khador.
Oh yeah,
Just enjoy.
yeah,
You know, if you're playing Vlad 3,
yeah.
those Choir can all affect
That's
them.
and that's part of the restrictions on this caster-wise to make it small. It's thematic because we want it to be about a giant force of mounted people, but also we wanted to tone and make sure that there weren't crazy interactions.
Yep. The last one is Flame in the Darkness. This is the Morrowan Thamorite theme force. We've gone through a ton of new Morrowan and Thamorite models, and we mentioned all these casters that are becoming Morrowan or Thamorite. So again, Jake, Stryker, Maddox, Ashlyn all became Morrowans. All Zerkova and Cross all became Thamorites.
Yep.
And this is another one that whatever Warcaster you pick, this theme force becomes that faction.
Yep.
So this adds another theme force to Signar, Kador, and Mercs. You can take Morrowan Warcasters. You can take Thamorite Warcasters. You get non-character mercenary warjacks and up to 2 non-character Signar or Kador warjacks, regardless of your caster.
Yep.
So, if you want Stryker with some Juggernauts,
Yeah.
if you want Ashlyn with, I don't know, a Victor,
Yeah.
Ashlyn with anything. Because Roulette is super awesome.
You want Maddox with nomads? Whatever.
And they all become the same faction.
Yeah.
You can also take Gallant.
Yeah.
Then you get Alexia model/units, Morrowan model/units, Thamorite model/units, the Field Mechanic units, and the Hermit of Hingehold.
Yep.
So this is one of those ones that's very broad categories, but it's just a ton of stuff in it.
And the main benefit of this army is units gain vengeance.
Yeah. Stryker 3 with Juggernauts.
Well,
I just want to see, I mainly play this one in our internal playtesting, by the way, with Ashlyn.
Yeah.
Because I was like, what can I do with Roulette?
Yeah.
And the answer is a lot of funny stuff. So all models become the same faction. For every 20 points of units and solos, you can either get a free command attachment, 3 of the Morrowan Battle Priests,
Yep.
or one or smaller medium-based solo, and units in the army gain vengeance.
Yeah, which is real fun on the Legion of Lost Souls, blood-bounding vengeance out of Shield Wall.
It's super good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's super good. Oh, another unit picked up Thamorite, by the way. The Devil Shadow Mutineers.
Oh yeah.
So we have covered just a little bit over an hour. Everything that's going to be in the CID that you're about to see go live here in a little bit. So let's see if we got any questions to hit. Zeno says, are these for Oblivion play only or Steamroller legal? These are all Steamroller legal. That's actually why we've been kind of going over how they'll work when list pairings in Steamroller. Krennic Gaming, speaking of Ashlyn, any updates on Warp Madness? I believe they're going to be posting something soon, but cheers all you Ashlyn fans for ruining my life and making Barnabas 2 and Carver not be in the finals, which is how it should be. Chater Caveman, how are Archons getting added to themes? A couple of these themes specifically called them out, but for the time being, to begin CID, we want people to test Archons as if they were their one Merc or Minion solo option that you can get most theme forces. Fiona test as is or week 3 CID. Please test Fiona and the Infernals in Hearts of Darkness in their final iterations in CID, the last PDFs posted. And I think Jeff might be reposting those PDFs for everybody to have easier access to.
Yeah, and we'll probably do an update with the final, what we've had conversations about final Infernal rules, if they're substantial.
Yep. Somebody says, does Reality Anchor prevent recursion? If it's a placement effect, it completely negates it.
Yeah, but it does not replacement effects.
Yeah. Kador battle engines in the Cav theme. I do believe it is just Cav models. So, yeah, Kador cavalry models / units, Protectorate cavalry models / units. So, yes. Yeah. Nothing in Blindwater asks the darkness. Nothing specifically Blindwater. No, though Minions did pick up several new solos, but nothing Blindwater specific. Blindwater and Tharnfall, how will Archons go into them? They won't currently.
The duration of the CID has been on the screen for a while. It's the 29th, I believe, which is a Monday.
Yep. And things like the Archons not working for other Minions factions, stuff that we're keeping an eye on. Like I said, this is where we're starting day 1 with the testing. Striker 911 says, what have you done? He's asking you.
What? No. No.
Hugo says, when will we see the pirate update?
Really soon. The Southern Ontario Open is this month, right? In 2 weeks, I think. So it'll probably be the Monday after that, because I haven't checked on list locks and all those things. for that. But we also don't want to drop that right before a big event. So it'll more than likely be the week after that, probably the Monday after it.
Somebody says, will there be any real reason to take Ulans and Vengers together? Try it out and test and let us know what you can do.
Having a really big army that hits pretty hard and moves really fast?
I mean, it makes you play in a very different way when you can have 4 units of Cav and then all the Cav solos all backed up and then make them belong to factions they normally didn't, and then seeing what you can do. Krios 3 in particular I like, and Vlad 3. I like playing the most in that one. General rules cleanup / update that's going to be in Oblivion, not yet. There's something we're going to talk about a little bit closer to the launch, but nothing that applies to the CID that anybody needs to know.
Yeah.
And a lot of those other Theme Force questions, you'll see, anything else that's not a Theme Force we covered, we might talk about later in the CID, but for the time being, just play the Theme Forces as you know them. So, looks like we got most of the questions. There's a lot of questions going on. The CID will be launching soon, so please head over to cid.privateerpress.com. You'll be able to see all these rules and any little things that we didn't mention, like if you want to see people's speeds, strengths, things like that.
Yeah.
Jeff may already have it up as we speak. And come participate. Come get some games in. Make sure you post in the battle report section. Let us know what you think. Your feedback has a major, major impact on the final printed versions of these rules. So let us know, and we look forward to seeing you all then. Tony, the plague is consuming my body, so let's go ahead and call it here. Thanks for joining, everybody. We will see you on the online. See you on Primecast if we're not all dead from disease on Friday. And see you next week, probably.
Yeah, and thanks people that are crazy like Tyrenius watching at 4:30 in the morning in Australia right now.
We hope you enjoyed it.
We appreciate you being here live with us, even if we want to be at home taking naps.
Yeah. Thanks. Bye, everybody.
Yeah, I haven't coughed. I'm going to cough real loud and real hard.
I'm literally going to fall out of my chair and just die.
Yeah, just